Hi, my name's Jim Gawel, and I'm going to talk to you about the program that I've helped create that has the longest acronym in the world. And I decided that I didn't really like explaining the program, so I try to put it all in the title, and therefore I don't need an abstract. So I'm going to talk about the search project. So I have partners with this, so I came up with the original idea, but this only works because of sort of the collective impact of having lots of people who know more about education than I do. So I have Brianna Trigg and the two Denises from Pacific Education Institute, a guy named Kirk Robbins who also teaches part-time here at UW in the education program, but he's an outside consultant that I know through other things. And then I had two what I consider to be expert teachers that I've worked with early on in my years here on different programs that I've learned are kind of the key people on telling you when something will work and when it won't, since they have years and years of experience in the classroom. So Donna and Leanne do that. And it's funded by the Puyallup Watershed Initiative right now through something called the Environmental Education Community of Interest, otherwise known as EECOI again, just because once you're in education, you have to put acronyms on everything. So, and there's some information about the program up on the website there, but more to come. So I got into this because I started in 1999 here at UW as a faculty member, and I needed to create a pipeline for the students that we didn't have at that point, and I wanted to reach the population that basically is from around here, and I thought research was the way to do it. So I know that because you do research, students care more about the results. They couldn't care about the grade that they get from me in the classroom, but if they have to deliver to an outside entity, suddenly it becomes dreadfully important. And it means that they're doing science themselves. So early projects that I did were with First Creek Middle School. We did something called a science cafe where we got students from my environmental science chemistry class to go out and do hands-on project with students. They did a great job. My students learned a lot, but all we had was anecdotal evidence that the students in the classroom were actually learning anything. They smiled, nobody threw anything. So then I got into more research projects, so I worked with Soda and Sammy in Lincoln High School and actually doing real data collection, real projects where we had more time with them to see more about what they were getting into, but we also learned that there are limits to what you can do with programs like this because it's a lot of intensive time on my part. It gets them out of the classroom, which takes time and only works in certain models, and therefore is only available for certain students. But we did have them present. We learned something about them presenting their results outside of their own classrooms. So overall, we are only reaching a small number of students. There wasn't equity in how we were reaching out, and it wasn't tied into the regular curriculum, which means it wasn't sustainable overall. So this project is basically trying to engage all K-12 students in authentic research in the classroom and expanding it so that all students in the actually Puyallup River watershed can be reached. Hopefully not just by me. We've had three phases. So in the first year, in 2015, we basically brought researchers together. They were interested in doing these projects, and we taught them about education. So what are next generation science standards? How do you have to rethink your project in terms of how kids get something out of it and how it works with the teachers? The second year, this past year, we actually brought teachers in from 7 different school districts in the Puyallup watershed, and they basically gave feedback on the initial projects, on how it would work. They get excited about it, how they want to do it in their classroom, and basically got them to buy in. And then this year, we're doing a 3-day workshop where we get 7 different school districts to commit to piloting these projects in their classroom in the 17-18 school year, and their teachers go through and design the actual curriculum that will go with those research projects. So these are the gold ones are the ones that have committed at this point. The orange ones are ones that might commit, which would really be a whole lot of work suddenly if that happens. So trying to reach all areas of the watershed. So the 4 projects right now, none of them are mine. I actually put my projects aside to try to reach, get other researchers involved. So this is Eric McDonald at UW here. He does pre-spawn mortality. So these are all active, real research projects, not something that's a busy work. Joan Wu and a former student of mine, Annette Huber, are over at Wazoo Puyallup, and they're looking at the sources of phosphorus in the watershed. So this is another project that's going on. Third one is actually another former UWT student who's also at WSU Puyallup who does work with something called Phytophthora, which is an invasive fungus that actually causes sudden oak death and several other diseases. And so looking at monitoring that in the watershed for lots of different reasons. And then our fourth project has to do with looking at microplastics, but specifically in freshwater systems where people have, it's actually a cutting edge project. Not many people have looked at microplastics in streams yet, and it turns out there's a lot of them there. So those are our four projects. So basically the way it works is that the students now get to scale up. So we actually try to design the curriculum so it fits into their classroom and into their regular schedule, and we try to keep them close to their school. So they still go out for part of the research project, but now they're actually tying it in so that they don't have to go very far. They also see how it ties into their local neighborhood, not that some other place is interesting, their own area is interesting. We also want to make it feel sciencey, right? So you want to make resources low, but students, I don't know what it is. My students, you have to wrestle with them to put on a lab coat. K-12 students love putting on a lab coat. So you want to keep that aspect involved. And you can do really awesome things with the research because you have all of these different schools collecting the same sort of data throughout the watershed. So as a scientist, you can do things you could not possibly do without a project like this. But you also want to make sure it's focused on the student. So they get to present their results actually at a symposium at the end, so all the students get together. But we also want the college students there, so they look up to the college students. So they've actually presented in the past as part of our symposium here, so we want to make sure that gets continued. And we want to make sure that we actually assess this to see that the students are learning and the teachers are actually getting the outcomes that they need in the classroom at the same time, and somehow to expand this actually to every student in every school in the watershed. So I need help. So that's what I got. Thank you very much. Questions?
A couple minutes for questions.
So the participating teachers develop a research project based on their area, and you support it, or how does?
No, so the teachers don't, so it's actually the researchers that, it's their research project that then is turned into curriculum with the teachers. So these are the topics of research for these faculty members. It's their interest, but then they buy into the idea of turning into something that you get a whole lot of volunteers, basically K-12 students, to be involved with, to collect a data set that you couldn't do by yourself. Oh yeah, that's the whole idea behind authentic research, is it has to do real research. And my students can sniff out a busy work assignment like there's no tomorrow, right? And K-12 students are even better at it. So it has to matter, and that's the only reason it has some impact, is they get to see their results and that somebody cares about their results and their results actually mean something. So that's what authentic research is all about. Good question. Yes?
So they're aligning it with, I guess it's core, the
Core, so the Common Core is the old thing. The next generation science standards is, I totally am learning all this shit as well. So next generation science standards is now, it's related to the old Common Core standards, but basically it's the new way of thinking about it, where it's kind of a combination of practices, so how engineers and scientists practice their particular thing, as well as content and other things. So it's kind of an interesting way. It's a really, for me as an educator, it's actually a much better way to think about how you do this stuff, and so K-12 systems kind of gotten behind it. It would actually be a great thing for the university system to look at how next generation science standards work, because I think it's very much applicable to what we do at the university level as well.
What kind of resources are you looking for?
So part of the difficulty is basically expanding this out. So what we're looking for is partners to staff these sorts of things. So the researcher designs the program. The undergraduate students here at UWT actually become part of the staffing piece. So we try to incorporate it into classes or research activities so that our students learn how to teach students at the same time. They learn the material better by doing that, but also that allows you to have more staff to actually get out there and make sure no students drown in the creek, which for some reason is an issue. That's actually one way. The other thing is we're looking for informal educators to be involved, because that's another group of people that's regularly in the classroom, and they have staff and staff time to actually to devote, and they're also interested in being involved in projects that mean something. And so that's another way, is to partner with, you know, Pierce County Environmental Education, or the Enviro Challenger people, or CHB, all these different groups. Anything else? Thank you.